Do you guys see this terribly drawn image right over here? This is the monk mode protocol that helped me make millions of dollars in my 20s, and I'm going to break down the entirety for you all in today's video. I'm 25 years old, and by this point in my journey, I've generated multiple millions of dollars throughout different phases of my journey. At the current state I'm at for the past 3.5 years, I've made about $4.5 million for myself, while generating tens of millions of dollars for my clients. And before this, at my old partnership, I was able to scale a team to 75 employees. We're building SaaSes, Shopify apps, e-com brands, marketing agencies, anything that you can fathom, and we were able to make millions of dollars through that for our clients as well too. Now, throughout this entire journey, I have been following this 90-day protocol before Iman Gadzhi popularized it. This protocol I called a hyper-focus period, but as many of you might know it as a monk mode. Monk modes are by far the most important program, aka protocol, that you can follow if you want to reach any sort of success. The greatest minds have been doing this for generations. They lock themselves up and they obsess over their vision. There's two types of people when it comes to monk modes, and I've been noticing this more and more because I'm on Twitter and I see all these guys on Twitter talking like it's like A or B. It's binary. I love monk mode or I hate it. If you do your monk mode, then you're a nerd, because who locks themselves up? There are moments in your life where if you want to outcompete everybody, you can do nothing else but obsess and dominate whatever it is that you're building. And I call this becoming the best version of yourself and using that as your new normal. What do I mean by this? Well, imagine the greatest version of you, where you follow through with all your habits. All your non-negotiables are done without any question. How would you operate? You would be a force to be reckoned with. Now imagine if this is your new normal state. Now, 180 days later, you decide to go into another monk mode and you realize there's a few other holes that you need to fill out. And you want to go back into another monk mode and you do it again. Your new best version of yourself is your new normal state. This is what it means to be in a monk mode. Your old best self is your new normal. And these 90-day protocols, if you were to do them twice on a yearly basis, what takes you years to integrate into your own life, you're now able to do it in 90 days. You're leveling up years in 90 days, and you can do this twice on a yearly basis if you follow the right protocol. And the protocol that I've been following is a very simple structure. But in order to actually understand what the structure is, we have to first dive into the mental frameworks involved with it. And it's boring. It's cliche. There's nothing exciting about what I'm teaching you. This isn't a magic pill. This isn't a magic formula. But it is the closest thing to those bloody magic beans. There is nothing in this earth that is going to be handed to you. However, this protocol, by following through with it, there will be nothing that comes close to giving you the power that you need to build whatever you are building. So when you have a vision, the vision being something that you're striving to create, this North Star where every decision that you make in your life leads you towards this specific vision. Once you understand what yours is, it is much easier to start locking into these monk mode periods because you have something that jolts you every single morning. For me, it's generational wealth. I want every single person in my bloodline operating at their best version of them. I'm not talking about everyone needs to be a billionaire. I'm not talking about everyone needs to be a multimillionaire. I know that my father loves to cook and he loves to travel the world. I want to make sure he's able to do that. I know my girl loves to have a soulful connection with God. I know she wants to have a farm. I know she wants to build a lovely family. I'm going to help her do that. I know my cousin wants to have a multi-million-dollar mansion with his wife and raise a beautiful family. I want to help them do that. I want to make sure my bloodline is strong and set for generations to come. That's what's jolting me. That's what's energizing me. And that's what my monk modes are all looking forward to. You have to define your own version of your vision. You have to understand your own version of what your North Star is, so you know what this monk mode's end objective is. It's called intention. Intentional work, purposeful work is what we're actually doing during this monk mode. On a monk mode protocol, all of us have to understand we have mental limitations. We have weaknesses in our mind and we're in this constant battle. So in order to actually be able to lock in for a 90-day period without falling off, we're always going to be in a game of fighting with the mind. 80% of the game is mental. So before we start going into the actual monk mode protocol, you need to have a 10-day period prior. and figure out exactly what is bothering you, what is holding you back, your bad habits, your bad mental thoughts, the bad loops that you've been following through and going in through, and you want to write them all out with pure self-honesty. You need to understand what these are so we can figure out a one-liner solution for every single one that you can read every single day. When you feel you're about to fall off, you know these solutions are just going to give you this reminder, this intention where you know you're going to build towards your vision. Then you know that all of these little mental reminders, I call them daily conscious reminders, are going to help you solve the problems in the actual moment so you don't fall off and go back to your same narcissistic self, or you don't fall off and go back to your same lazy self. In order to stay consistent, you have to win that mental battle. So for example, one of mine was being too frugal because I woke up, I was born into a family where we were struggling and my dad got scammed. We went through a horrible situation. I had to be conscious of money as a very, very young age, and I was always worried about it. So I wouldn't invest back into my businesses. And this happened to me for quite some time. So I wrote this down in my book and I wrote out my solution. I wrote out, when I'm investing back into a company, it's like drawing a bow and arrow back. When I draw the bow back with the arrow, that's me investing. I go a little bit backwards and then I let go, and then the businesses fly. That was my solution. That was the reminder I needed. There's this study by MK Ultra. It takes 2,500 repetitions to change someone's mind. This is a propaganda strategy. We are using this to hypnotize ourselves. We have to repeat the solution, understand the problem, repeat the solution so many times to a point where we will no longer forget it. So while we're going through the entirety of the 90 days, we are unfazed by this actual period. We are unfazed by any problem that might occur. That's the first part, the most important part. From this point, I'm going to show you guys the other two sections. On the iPad that I showed you, there were three main layers. Layer 1 was the mind, layer 2 was the protocol, layer 3 was the goals. Now, let's go over each of the sections. The first section is called the non-negotiable protocol. The protocol is what you need to be doing on an everyday basis throughout this monk mode to start getting into some sort of momentum. These are the habits that you're trying to engrave and cement into your life. Habitual behaviors is the only way to get out of whatever the loop is that you're currently in. So for example, my protocol, I want to pray 3 times a day. My protocol is I want to hit the gym 3 times a week. My protocol is I want to call my mother every single day. My protocol, whatever it is, these are repetitive tasks. For me, it's content creation. I'm currently in this monk mode right now. I am going through this 90-day period. I'm going through absolute hell and back. I've gone through mental battles. I've gone through stresses. I've gone through whatever it is, but I am showing up consistently without missing any single day of whatever my protocol is. And it's taken time for me to get to this specific point. Now, as I'm going through these, I figure out 7 to 9 different protocol non-negotiables that I can be following. These are tasks in your life that are going to give you foundational strength. These are going to be like, you know how people say, oh, it's going to take you 21 days to build a habit? Imagine doing them for 90 days. And then the third section is the actual goals, right? What are these protocol steps going to help you actually achieve? Now, you have to imagine the goals of your monk mode. I usually have 5 goals total maximum, and this is for my personal, this is going to be for my businesses. And every single one of the protocol steps and every single task that I'm going to do throughout the entirety of this monk mode is going to help me reach whatever the goals are. So one of my goals is, I'm not giving numerical goals of I'm going to have 50,000 subscribers, because that's out of my control, right? I can produce amazing content, but sometimes the algorithms won't push it. Or another goal that is not sustainable is I'm going to be making $1 million a month by this end of the 90 days. I look for inputs that I can do consistently. For example, I can produce 60 pieces of short form content a week, or a month rather. I can produce 2 YouTube videos a week consistently. So I can add those numbers up and I can multiply them by whatever the number of weeks that I got to specifically do them for. And then that's my goal. I want to produce 180 different short forms. That's a goal. I want to produce maybe 24 different YouTube videos. I want to produce whatever it is. I have to come up with a numerical input value that I am trying to reach towards. And I'm trying to systemize those. I'm trying to create the actual steps it takes for me to do those tasks with ease, without thinking, without me having to think, what am I supposed to do next? Who am I supposed to talk to next? I know the logical sequence. I know it in sequential order perfectly to a T, and I'm just following through with this. I do this for a 90-day period. And the biggest hurdle here is not the actual task list. It's not the actual goals. Realistically, I don't reach every one of my goals constantly, but I do reward myself after the 90 days. If I follow through with my monk mode, I'm human. I'll fail a bit. I'll make mistakes. If I follow through with 85% certainty that I did what I was supposed to, I reward myself with a gift. Right? I bought this AP off my last monk mode. At the end of this monk mode, I already booked my flight. I'm flying straight to Spain for 2 months. I'm going to come back, do another monk mode. I'm buying my supercar. I'm doing whatever the hell I need to do at the end of each of these monk modes to reward myself or reward my loved ones. I have my little brother in a monk mode currently right now while he's building his marketing agency. I have my girl in a monk mode right now while she's systemizing a part of my business. I have all of these individuals who are executives running the show with me, all simultaneously in a monk mode. So whenever any of us feel low, all of us are there as a collective, as a group of individuals who want to help each other out, as people who want to lift each other up instead of kicking each other down. Have a monk mode created. Understand your North Star. Create your daily conscious reminders and have a group of people who are there by your side and build towards something amazing, my friends. It is not a difficult thing. I break down my entire monk mode protocol inside of my community, the Utopia, and it helps you build your own online business completely from scratch. You guys can check it out in the description. If you guys have any questions, drop them down below. I really enjoyed recording this video, and we'll chat soon.